Welcome to the Vault Studios Fantasy Football Podcast, your one-stop shop for all fantasy football info. Here are your hosts.
Welcome to the Vault Studio Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Lewis, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, who has just been added to the injury report with a hip designation. He's questionable for the weekend, but it's great to have him here on the podcast again. Corey, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I guess at my ripe old age of 38, you shouldn't be attempting to do 100-meter sprints.
Especially in the off season.
Especially in the off season, especially when you're not stretched, and
or you didn't have your compression gear on. You didn't have your tape.
I definitely didn't. That's why I wear it, Lewis.
I know. I can see it now. It literally holds you together.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. All right, but he's tough. He's a true athlete, and he's soldiered on to jump on and record this week's episode of the podcast. And we have got a lot to talk about. Last week, it seemed like it was just a bloodbath. Every second I looked over at red zone, someone else was out injured. It was terrible. If you persevered with Saquon Barkley and you'd finally started to get a bit of usage out of him, you can kiss that goodbye. That sucked. His ankle looked like it got a pineapple underneath the skin. It was just an enormous piece of swelling. That was a disaster. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has a knee injury. He's going to be out for some time. Daniel Jones got a concussion. He could be out, but it's trending towards playing. Russell Wilson, finger injury, out for multiple weeks, just underwent surgery. So that tanks Seattle's passing game, unless you think that Geno Smith is somehow going to get it done. I certainly don't. Tyreek Hill and both Travis Kelce, I believe, are questionable for this week. Travis Kelce trending to play. Tyreek Hill, we're not sure at this point.
Right. And Golladay as well.
Kenny Golladay, who hasn't been healthy all season.
Yeah,
I'm sure we're missing some names, but Christian McCaffrey is 50-50 to come back this week. So if you drafted him, no doubt you got him 1 overall, and you're really, really hoping that you get something out of him as we head into the second or the middle stretch of the fantasy football season. Who else? What other injuries? Dalvin Cook could miss this week. They might choose to rest him with the Vikings having their bye in week 7. Good news is Julio Jones is practicing again. Just a bloodbath. Well. Mixon is going to play. That was weird. They were like, oh, he's not going to play. Now he's going to play limited snaps. Of course, he gets in for a touchdown. And now his replacement,
Samaj. That run was amazing, by the way.
That was beautiful. Beautiful. He looked 100% healthy. So I don't know what's going on with the Bengals. Yeah. If that's like limited Joe Mixon, and that, oh my goodness. And of course, now off the back of that, Samaje Perine is on the COVID-19 list, as is Dallas Goedert. And so Chris Evans, who I sort of liked as a sneaky play last week, just completely face planted, but really could be in line this week with Samaje Perine out, who did run quite a number of pass routes. Mixon was really limited in that usage. It seems like the Bengals want Mixon to carry the football, but are more concerned about him aggravating his knee in the passing game. They've certainly limited his usage anyway, so I can't really see any other reason for that. So Chris Evans, maybe in really deep leagues, he could be in play with him being the only option behind Mixon, who is banged up and not practicing in full. As I said, Julio Jones is back to practice this week. We're still not sure if he'll play, but certainly a good sign for him. Was there anyone else, Corey? But it just felt like an absolute bloodbath. Along with that, every kicker missed every single kick last week, which was just a nightmare.
Yeah, not off the top of my. Damian Williams got banged up in the Patriots game. He's another one, but looks like
Damian Harris.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. But I think Damian Williams did get banged up as well and was missed practice. So, if there's a running back called Damian, just say a name. Yeah, and also he had that fumble as well, that costly fumble. So those rib injuries Bill Belichick might have just walked past him in the training facility and just dropped an elbow in there to just re-aggravate the ribs. Or sent Steve to rough him up.
Yeah, so we can have another 5-carry Brandon Bolden game.
What the fuck, man? Brandon Bolden, a career special teamer, all of a sudden getting carries.
He was like on the pickup list for if not from anyone, but like on just platforms that like pick up Brandon Bolden.
And everyone's like, no, that's disgusting.
Like what? No.
Why would I pick Brandon Bolden up? He got some carries. Before we get into the sort of the look ahead for this show, we decided to tackle this week a little bit differently. We've been doing look backs at each game because now we're starting in with the bye weeks and some players aren't playing. We didn't want to do anything that's, I guess, redundant. So we're going to transition to more of a preview for each game, but still taking, what we've seen either last week, the last few weeks, and sort of try to put that in the context of the games as they're coming up. So hopefully that helps you a little bit more with your lineup decisions. But before we get there, obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, you've seen that John Gruden has been, he wasn't removed, he stepped down, but I think that was just a finessed way of putting it. I know he's great friends with Mark Davis. I think it was more Mark Davis said, jump or I'll have to push you, and it looks better for everyone, I guess, for just a shitload of just really bad emails, bad, offensive, upsetting emails. He managed to offend everyone. Worst of all, in the NFL's eyes, he's managed to offend Roger Goodell, which is probably why these emails came out in the first place, considering they were off the back of a investigation into the Washington football team. And right now, the only collateral damage is John Gruden. Rightly so. But I think, Corey, I think you mentioned this as well. I think there's a lot more to come out of these emails and this investigation, because all 32 teams' emails, all teams have been emailing back and forth with the Washington football team over this period. John Gruden wasn't even in the NFL at this point. He was working at ESPN as the Monday Night Football commentator. ESPN have done a masterful job of avoiding mentioning that he was working at ESPN during this time. So everyone's feathering their own nests during this period. It sucks that these things are happening, but the reality is there are consequences, and John Gruden is done in the NFL at this point. And Mark Davis is probably happy because he can get out of that fucking albatross of a contract that he gave him.
Definitely, So I don't think we need to divulge anymore on that, but
I just. Get into it. We are the fantasy podcast. I just thought it'd be, it's the elephant in the room in the NFL right now. So I figured we'd definitely touch on that at the top of the show, and a lot more is going to happen. But for now, let's focus on what we're here for, and that's the fantasy implications going into week 6. And we can start with Thursday Night Football and what could be a bit of a sneaky fun matchup here, because the Eagles against the Buccaneers. I think this could be quite a good game. I think the Buccaneers will win convincingly, but they can be thrown on. And Jalen Hurts has struggled against difficult secondaries. Tampa Bay does not have one. So what are you looking for in this game? What are you seeing that you're targeting in fantasy-wise?
Yeah, I think obviously that no one's really run on the Bucs yet, so I don't expect and the Eagles haven't run the ball well at all. So it
would be just our luck, right? The Eagles just completely turn to the run and rip off 250 on the ground against Tampa Bay.
Right. I don't see that happening.
No.
I think Kenneth Gainwell, the rookie from Memphis, is a good flex play this week. I think he kind of fell off the radar last week. He didn't really do much, but I think the 2 weeks prior to that, he was really involved in the pass game, and I could see him similar to what Myles Gaskin was used last week. I think Kenneth Gainwell will be used in this game similarly. So I don't mind playing Gainwell if you're in a spot in bye weeks, or injuries, because I know I've seen a lot of people's rosters with a bunch of Qs on it, or O's or buys. So
or IRs, or PUPs.
We have Kenneth Gainwell. He's healthy. I don't mind playing him in the flex spot this week. I
love this call, man. You have to. The Eagles would have to be lunatics to not see what Myles Gaskin put on tape and how he was used against Tampa Bay in week 5 and go, hey, we've got a guy, Kenny Gainwell, who could do something like that. It's just very quick, short area passing game and really just turning it into an extension of the run game. So Kenny Gainwell fits the criteria to do that. My takeaway with Dallas Goedert on the COVID-19 list is that Zach Ertz is, a borderline top 10 tight end play this week. Tampa Bay can't cover anyone, and it's just going to be concentrated tight end targets to Zach Ertz. And I could totally see him going, 7 for 60, 63 yards. And that will put you inside the top 10 tight ends for the week. He might even get into the end zone. I believe it was last week, Jalen Hurts just missed him, just overthrew him on a red zone target as well. But these guys cannibalize each other when they're both on the field. If I had one of them out, I would say the same thing if it was Goddard as well. He has an even higher ceiling because he can still, he's a bit of a big play threat compared to Zach Ertz. But I like Zach Ertz this week against what is not a scary Tampa Bay secondary. Let's move on to Jags versus Dolphins here. London game. Just if you thought the first London game was bad, the NFL serves up the Jags and the Dolphins. The only saving grace might be if Tua comes off the IR and plays this week. I personally don't see why the Dolphins would risk it. This is not a playoff team. They should protect their asset instead of sending Tua to play, traveling internationally, starting an early game, and playing in probably freezing cold weather instead of somewhere in Florida. So I don't know why they would activate Tua unless he was 100% healthy and ready to go. I'd be picking him up in cotton wool. But we do have the Jags versus the Dolphins, and the whole world got burned by Myles Gaskin last week. He was insert Undertaker.gif rising out of the casket after being pronounced dead after week 4, after being outsnapped by Brown and Salvon Ahmed. But he's back, and I think he will be featured again. You can't pop off that kind of performance and then disappear back into anonymity. And the other thing I like this week is Jalen Waddle in a bounce back spot, especially if the Dolphins do decide to go with Tua here, because he actually targets Waddle a bit further down the field. They do have that chemistry, that relationship, and there's no one else to catch the ball for the Dolphins. So I think Waddle has had a few down weeks, but I think he can get going here against a very, very leaky Jag secondary.
Both of these defenses are abysmal at the moment. So I'm saying start your Jags. I think Jags could pull off the upset in this one. So be on the lookout for the Jags in this one, getting their first win. Urban Meyer will have to fly back on team plan, I believe, to get back into the country. So, I kind of like the Jags in this spot. I like, you start your James Robinson, you start your Laviska Shenault, you start. I don't mind starting Trevor Lawrence in this game as well if you're in a spot with a quarterback on bye. I would just say that with this Jags offense, obviously they're a work in progress and they're steadily getting better. Even though Urban Meyer just says stupid things all the time. He said today, or the other day, is I want to have 250 yards rushing and 250 yards passing.
He's such a fucking donkey.
It's no
he hasn't made a single good decision. Like, objectively, I can't point to a single really good decision he's made since coming on.
Yeah.
As the Jags head coach. You can't say drafting Trevor Lawrence was a good decision he made, because every single general manager and head coach would have taken Trevor Lawrence in that spot. And apart from that, it's just been bad mistake after bad mistake. And who knows? They might not take him back on the plane, because the Jags are going into a bye week after week 6. Everyone who goes to London gets the bye week the week after for travel back. The players spend some time there. Who knows? Urban Meyer might not get on that plane. He might have some co-eds to touch up in London. Urban Meyer's going to go to a bar and be like, "Oh, the chick's at 18 here."
Nah, he should be good. He should be good. I think the Jags have themselves a nice game here. So I think this game will go over the total, and I think You're going to be happy if you played your Jags in this game. So we'll move on to the Panthers and the Vikings. It's a very interesting game as far as like sides go. Like, I think it could go either way, to be honest. What are you looking at for fantasy on this one?
This is an interesting one. I think they'll sit Dalvin Cook. I do, and people might look at Alexander Mattison and then they see that the Panthers haven't given up a whole lot of points to opposing running backs. On paper, it's quite a difficult matchup. I would just say, don't be concerned about that. He is the true definition of a handcuff workhorse back who will get plenty of targets, plenty of carries. Just lock him into your lineup if you have him on your roster and Dalvin Cook doesn't play. So don't be put off by that. Imagine it's Dalvin Cook. Look at Alexander Mattison and just replace his name with Dalvin Cook and make all of your decisions. Just that's it. That's it. So don't be scared. Don't be scared by that. Apart from that, really, if CMC is back, you're obviously playing him, or you're playing Chuba Hubbard as well. Adam Thielen, I'm perfectly fine with, although he's probably a bit touchdown dependent. And I think the Panthers pass rush is going to be able to get to Kirk Cousins as well. So I think he could get flustered in this game. That's why they might really lean on the run and go with Alexander Mattison.
Yeah, you mentioned the Panthers defense. Their weakness is their run defense. It's 12th in DVOA, but they're second overall, I believe. Overall in total defense, obviously. So if you're going to attack this Carolina defense, it is on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if Stephon Gilmore is active? We're going to be active this week.
I'm not
either
sure.
way, I mean, it's
either
tough,
way, yeah.
Tough sledding through the air for Vikings. I mean, you're not going to sit Jefferson or anything like that, but Thielen, I don't know. If I had a better option, I might play someone else. So I think this is a DJ Moore bounce back game. I think he gets 7, 8, 9 catches in this game. I just think this Vikings secondary isn't very good. And I think they can make some hay against this Vikings defense.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Moore, by his standards, has quite a week, but he has been feasting as the team's wide receiver one, and I expect him to have a big game here. And he has the talent where it could just be DJ Moore week, and he puts up a 30-point game on your roster. So you were never sitting him, but just be confident going into your matchup that DJ Moore could comfortably smash his projection for this week. Ravens Chargers. What a game. What a game the Ravens came off. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to mention, I just looked up the Carolina DVOA versus number one receivers is last in the league. So start Jefferson. They're against number two receivers, they're first in the league. So there you go.
Wow, that's a stat. That is a great stat.
It is a stat. So yeah, you're saying the Ravens, they're coming off that awesome game, man. That was so fun to watch.
That was incredible.
Lamar Jackson come back. Just the comedy of errors that the Colts had to pull off to lose that game. Getting a field goal blocked. Just everything that could go wrong in that situation did go wrong. And to see the Ravens come back and win that game was absolutely insane.
Yeah, great game. And now the Ravens draw the Chargers. So here's your reward for a great comeback. Top three team in football. It does not get any easier. Tyson Williams was an inactive in week 4, bizarrely, for no reason that we heard. It was then reactivated. It sort of seemed like it was maybe he was late to a team meeting, some kind of disciplinary issue that was kept in-house. We haven't heard a peep about it, but he was just active again. And if you need cover on a bye, I think you can start Tyson Williams, because I do think he looks the most sprightly of the runners. And this is how you attack the Chargers. The Chargers do not stack the box. They take away the passing game, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are one of the best teams at running the football. And I think the Chargers are going to let them run the football up and down the field, and then try and play great red zone defense, and not let Lamar and Hollywood Brown beat them deep, and keep everything in front of them. And they certainly have the personnel to be able to do that, and just try and try and get pressure on Lamar Jackson by, just sending 4-5 guys instead of loading the box and trying to take away the run. So I think that's what's going to happen in this game. And so if I'm picking a back to start, I'm okay. I feel okay starting Tyson Williams. Less so Latavius Murray, and not even if there's a fire, don't even start Devontae Freeman.
I just want to hear from all the fantasy big pundits and talkers about this Ravens offense that is going to be so run heavy, blah, blah, blah. Yes, there are circumstances that have led to, Lamar Jackson posting 300-yard passing game last week and 2 weeks ago and 400 yards this week. But that's why we don't try to figure those things out. You pick the players based on their merit. These things change. You don't think the Ravens knew that they needed to pass the ball more this year? That's why they went out and got the pieces that they went out to get. Now they're only going to get healthier. Marquise Brown has been absolutely sensational so far. And
wide receiver 6 on the season, man. He's been a baller.
Yeah. And, Mark Andrews, 50-point game if you have him in, tight end plus league. He was amazing. They're going to add Rashad Bateman, and then you just add, these middling running backs along with Lamar Jackson's great running ability as well. The ceiling is so high for this offense as it continues to grow.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I think this is going to be one of the games of the week. So I'm certainly going to make a point to watch this game and then rewatch this game, because I think we're going to be in for a treat. Again, it's probably not going to be as much of a treat as the Giants versus the Rams.
Good segue.
I mean, it's always good to watch the Rams, but the Giants, it's going to be bad. But there will be some maybe some bright spots. Kadarius Toney had a huge breakout game against the Cowboys. Went off for 189 yards and rushed the ball for, I think, 1 for 7 carries. He actually had more total yards in that game than he did receiving in his entire junior year at Florida, which I thought was a fun little statistic. I think he had 191 yards receiving in 7 games in his junior year in Florida. Obviously, coming out, he was a very explosive, dynamic guy who got off to a bad start in his career. He had injuries, some personal stuff going on, could not get in the field. The Giants were choosing to use CJ Board over him. And okay, well, what's going on here? The fact that he came out and looked so explosive just is another sort of nail in the coffin of the incompetence of the New York Giants, that they weren't getting this kid out on the field sooner rather than later. Now, I was very verbally sort of anti-Kadarius Toney, not as a person. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but with his lack of college production, he never broke out, never really put it all together. I didn't see how he's going to come out and dominate NFL defensive backs without getting a very particular, scheme drawn up for him. And I didn't think that was going to happen with Jason Garrett. He's looked good. He looked really, really good. Now, am I confident that he's going to be able to post weekly top 20, 24 wide receiver stats? I'm not sure at this point. I want to see a little bit more. But I really liked what I did see. And if you got him on the waivers this week, congratulations. You probably should play him if they're going to find a way to manufacture touches. But outside of that, there is not a lot to like in this Giants game, especially Devontae Booker. You probably sprinted to get him off the waiver wire.
How dare you?
Bro, how can you play Devontae Booker against this Lions defense? This Rams defense. You should play Devontae Booker against the Lions. Definitely play Devontae Booker against the Lions. What it means against this Rams defense. Now, I can't do it.
You can catch.
Yeah, I suppose he can catch a couple of dump offs, but I don't know. It feels gross. It feels really, really gross. Having said that, gross,
but the amount of volume he gets 60 snaps last week. It's similar to. I don't expect him to be amazing, but I think he could muster 50 yards and maybe 30 yards receiving on 4 or 5 catches and call it a day.
Yeah, maybe he can get you like 11, 12 fantasy points, something like that. Yeah. I guess it comes down to what your options are and what your starting requirements are.
I'm worried about the fact Daniel Jones needs to play any of these guys. I really think so. I'm not trusting Mike Glennon to get anyone the ball, especially a receiver. So that being said, you got to start Darrell Henderson. He's been awesome. I've been on that kind of bandwagon because I've always thought Henderson was at least in Akers' kind of wheelhouse as far as talent goes. I think he's he might be a little bit faster. He's not as big or powerful. I think that's where he lacks, but he's been very good this year. He's been a solid high-end RB2 really so far this year. When he's missed one game, obviously, but I really like Henderson in this game as well. The Giants' defense is not very good. I think if you're looking for matchups, this is the one you're looking for. They're 26th in DVOA right now. I think the Rams get up big, and he has a really good game in this one.
Yeah, Henderson's the running back 14 on a points per game basis, averaging 16.6 points per game. Same as Nick Chubb, and just behind Jonathan Taylor as well. And all three of them are behind the great James Robinson. So there we go. The other thing, Bobby Trees is back. And I think, you can
I guess.
huge game. Finally, the production matched his involvement, and he was able to get on, fill out the box score. And finally, it seems like him and Stafford are getting on the same page. So I'd like to see that. Hopefully he can continue. But now let's move on to the Colts and the Texans, which, in another universe, this could be a really fun. This could have been a really great fun matchup. We could be talking about Andrew Luck against Deshaun Watson and a whole lot of, DeAndre Hopkins and a healthy T.Y. Hilton. But we're not in another universe. We're in this one. And we've got Carson Wentz on 2 broken ankles against Davis Mills. We got T.Y. Hilton and his broken neck just coming back to practice. Not a lot of bright spots in this game. The Texans, though, they're playing hard. They are playing hard. I got to give them that. These are professional athletes with pride, and they're out there trying to win every single game they play, even if their organization is doing everything they can to stymie that, especially with their head coach, David. Is it Cutcliffe?
Yes.
David Cutcliffe is just the worst coach. He's, if you want to make Urban Meyer look good, stand him next to David Cutcliffe. But Michael Pittman is really putting together a nice little season here. I was not in on Pittman at all coming into the season. I didn't think it wasn't going to break the way I was hoping.
David Culley. Who's Cutcliffe? Oh, David Cutcliffe he was like the quarterback coach, right?
Yeah,
he was like the Duke coach.
Duke coach, right?
Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that's right. Who's built his career off
like the Zapruder film of like Peyton Manning at some Duke facility throwing the ball.
Right. Yeah, that's right. David Cutcliffe. Thank you for checking that. But yeah, I think Michael Pittman putting together a nice season. I think he's got top 20 upside this week. Going against the 6th worst defense against opposing wide receivers in PPR scoring. And if you're in a pinch, Paris Campbell is widely available. And I don't love it, but he's also coming off a season high 6 targets. And he's a get the ball in his hands, make something happen kind of wide receiver. He's not your contested catch guy like Michael Pittman is. He's not going to box guys out. Corey's showing me a rookie card right now, a Paris Campbell rookie card with a patch in it. It looks autographed. So let's raise the value of Corey's rookie card here, Paris, and let's go for we want what 6 receptions, 80 yards, and a score. Right, that's what we want this week. Paris happen. Some electric score. We're putting that out there. We want an NFT out of it. We want to make it look real good. We want a great game from Paris Campbell. That's what I'm looking at this week from the Colts.
Yeah, I'm going to be starting Brandon Cooks now. He's coming off a couple.
Are you really? You're going to start Brandon Cooks?
I am. Yeah,
you are.
I'm starting him over some people that people are going to be like, "What?" I'm starting him over the likes of Tyler Lockett and AJ Brown. So
I
that's what I'm
agree with
doing.
the Lockett call. I don't agree with the
I know
AJ
you
Brown
don't
call.
with AJ,
But Lockett, and you know I love Tyler Lockett, but Geno Smith is terrifying. So I don't hate that call at all. Listen, I know you're the Brandon Cooks guy, so I want to steal your thunder here. But Brandon Cooks has just been absolute king shit in usage, like dominating target share, dominating air yards. He has been the guy. So yeah, the Colts secondary doesn't scare you.
No, and he finally gets a matchup where he can kind of do his thing again because he's coming off the Bills and the Patriots, who were never going to let him get loose. So
right, and Belichick was just like, "Nah, we know about you.
No.
Let's just lock this kid down." Who the fuck was that guy? Chris Moore? I was like, "Who the fuck is Chris Moore?"
I remember Chris Moore. He used to play for the Ravens.
He played. That was right. I was like,
yeah.
Chris Moore. As I was saying, I was like, was that the guy who played for the Ravens? Yeah, my goodness. He's been around. He's had a cup of tea with a lot of teams.
Yeah, so I like Brandon Cooks this week a lot. And Nyheim Hines, man, he might be welcome to Dunsfield soon for me. He's on my roster, but I don't want him anywhere near my lineups in flex situations. Like I'd rather play Kenneth Gainwell over him. Guys like that. Like
Jonathan Taylor's just last week. Jonathan Taylor's just starting to get involved. They was getting involved in the screen game, really, really adding to Jonathan Taylor's workload. It's so bizarre that they gave Nyheim Hines this new contract with like $12 million guaranteed. Really, really strange decision from the Colts. Maybe he's carrying some niggles we don't know about. I'm not sure. And then they've talked about keeping Marlon Mack on ice, wanting to shop him around. Yeah. But maybe that's what they're doing.
They'll trade him. No one's going to trade him.
I don't know, man. He's looking. Maybe that's why they've put him in the shop window. Teams need a running back. They could get a 5th round pick for Marlon Mack, maybe something like that. Or maybe you reckon, or maybe some kind of like conditional 5th with a 7th going back to them. They could work something out.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. But Nyheim Hines, just keep him on your bench.
Yeah, I agree. This game, Washington football team against Kansas City. This might be my like 2nd or 3rd game of the week that I'm really excited to see.
That's weird.
Because both defenses absolutely stink. Patrick Mahomes is just going to go wild. And Taylor Heineke is just so much fun. And when a defense can't get it, he just does not give a fuck. He's like a young Ryan Fitzpatrick. And he's going to be out there running around like a headless chicken, forcing throws. He knows he's going to have to score a lot of points here to keep his team in it. And so Terry McLaurin is like a top 5 wide receiver for me this week. I think he's going to go absolutely bananas. So is, Antonio Gibson is very much in play. Your boy, J.D. McKissick, I think he's in play as well. He's going to get a lot of passing work, 2-minute drill, all that kind of stuff. The KC defense is historically bad. So,
yes, I agree with you. And obviously, if Tyreek Hill's down, I mean, you're looking at McCall Hardman, who's played fine. Like he's put up decent numbers without Tyreek Hill in the lineup. So obviously, you're playing Kelsey and things like that. But I think the prize winner, Darrell Williams, comes in this game and runs the rock here. I know Washington's probably, they're more stout against the run, but I do like Darrell Williams in a spot. He can catch the ball. I don't see Mahomes having to check it down much in this one. I think he'll have plenty of options down the field, but I don't mind taking Darrell Williams. I think he gets in the end zone this week.
Yeah, and I was listening to the Fantasy Focus podcast this morning. Obviously, everyone knows it with Matthew Berry, and he made a great point that Williams' ceiling might actually be higher than Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he's going to step into the same workload. But there was times regularly when CEH was pulled at the goal line in favor of Williams. Williams is not getting pulled at the goal line. They trust him there. And so if they're rushing for multiple scores this game, Williams could have both of those, which I thought was a really good point. But the one question we got for this week, if Tyreek Hill is out, dare we say it? Dare we light a celebratory joint in solidarity with Josh Gordon? Could it be Josh Gordon week if Tyreek Hill is out?
No, it'll be like Byron Pringle or somebody.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. I I was hoping to get some reciprocity there with my Josh Gordon love, but at his age now, he's not really like the downfield speedster like Pringle, like Hardman, but he's pretty much unbeatable on a slant because he's still fast, he's big bodied, and he does have some speed.
All right. No one's starting Josh Gordon. All right,
I'm not saying just like to start Josh Gordon season. I'm saying maybe if you want to build a game stack around this, just like he's going to be like, yeah, exactly. He's going to be like min cost in a tournament. Little sprinkle a little Josh Gordon in your life.
If you're listening to the podcast, he's doing a little sprinkle. You can watch on YouTube.
All right, next game, Bears versus Packers. Fuck you, Matt Nagy. I hate that dude. I cannot stand him. And, I think in the sports analysis fandom world that we live in, we can be very flippant about wanting people to lose their jobs. Reality is, I don't give a shit. Fire Matt Nagy, run his ass out of Chicago immediately. He's terrible. It's so sad. Just putting the shackles on Justin Fields. He's managed to do the undoable, and that's kill Allen Robinson. Christian Hackenberg and Blake Bortles couldn't kill Allen Robinson. They tried. They really, really tried. But Matt Nagy has done it, and he's killing Darnell Mooney, and he's killing my soul. And so get rid of him, and you just can't play any Bears pass catchers with any confidence. Like, no, I don't see. I can't have any of them inside like top 30, top 35 this week. They're just not playable assets at all. It will turn around. I'm sure the talent with Allen Robinson will eventually come through, and he's going to put up a monster game sometime this year. I just don't know when that is. And we need to see the Bears running some up-tempo, throwing the ball more and more. Maybe that happens on a week-to-week basis. We see progressively the playbook being opened up for Justin Fields as he learns more and gets more comfortable. But right now it's just depressing. So Justin Fields.
It's very depressing. If you are into props, his completions have been right around 18.5, and he hasn't sniffed 15 completions in a game.
It's time to hammer the under, bro. And I know betting the unders in props is no fun ever. No one likes doing it, but it's
anywhere
time.
Near 18 again, you're going under. He had only 20 attempts last game. He had 17 the game before that, 20 before that. He had 6 completions, 11 completions, 12 completions. So for him to even get to that kind of number, and this affects. The reason why I'm saying this is because it affects the receivers. Like,
of course,
like those are targets. Like for him to even get to completions, like catches, like he's going to have to throw like 40 times to get to even think about, having close to 18 completions. And yeah, he's not going to get anywhere near 40 attempts.
Yeah, and adding to the mix that this is, it's a rivalry game. I think the Bears defense probably comes to play against the Packers here. It ain't good. It ain't good.
I just want to say this is also a smash spot for Davante Adams. I know the Bears defense is ranked very highly. Unfortunately for them, against number 1 receivers, they are 30th in the league. So good luck to them.
Yeah, I mean, like, Adams is just a smash spot every single week.
Yeah,
but in particular, right? This is a really good spot when people might be a little bit hesitant. He could be quite a good. He could be quite a good contrarian play in DFS tournaments as well, because people will see the Bears and probably shy away. Not to mention the fact his salary is going to be really high after his first 200-yard game. Of course, in one of my home leagues, just before kickoff, I think it was the day before, my opponent traded for Davante Adams, who then proceeds to put up a fucking career game against me. I was like, are you serious? I'm drawing the worst luck this year. I'm having an absolute nightmare in fantasy. So yay me. I know everyone cares about that. Let's move on now to the Lions and the Bengals. And we've got the Jungle Cat shootout. I think this should be a really fun game. I think that could be.
You kind of sound like the Jumanji guy there.
The Jumanji guy. What, like the hunter?
Jungle Cat shootout.
Man, that is an obscure pull, but I like it. The Jungle Cat shootout. For obviously you're playing all your Bengals. You're playing Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. Fuck, you might even go back to the CJ Uzomah well. If you're desperate, I don't love that. But apart from that, you're playing all of your starting Bengals.
And I'm going to zag. I'm going to say you're studying all your Lions. I think the Lions are right on the cusp of winning their game. Like they're playing really hard. The coach, obviously, devastating losses, like a 66-yard field goal, and then taking the lead there against the Vikings and losing again, heartbreaking fashion. The team is playing really hard for them. As much as Dan Campbell, like we like to laugh at Dan Campbell.
No, he's got his team playing absolute heart and soul for him. You can tell how much he cares, and I think he likes to lean into the meatball image a bit more than he actually is. I think he's quite switched on. After all, he's a tight end in the NFL. Came up under Sean Payton. Obviously, he doesn't have the personnel on his roster, and there's a lot of work to be done. But as you said, man, these guys are playing hard, and I totally agree. This could be a win for the Lions here. I would bet. I don't know what the spread is. I know you're the degenerate, the gambler here. I'd have to imagine that the Bengals are probably favored by 6.5 points.
I don't think it's that high. I think it's only. Let's quickly look. It's 3.5.
Oh, because the Lions are at home.
Yeah, Lions are at home.
Oh, Lions are at home. That's my bad. So
Getting the dog with the points is always nice.
Yeah. So I like that. I'd take the Lions and the points here because we've seen Zach Taylor's fucking horrendous at in-game management and closing out games, and the Bengals just love to bungle things up as well. They were, they should not have lost that game against Green Bay. But the Bengals find a way to lose games that they don't need to, despite Joe Burrow looking electric and all those things. So, yeah, I think it's a bounce back spot for TJ Hawkinson, who's gone quiet with an injury. And also, Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot. I think he could do something nice this week. Well,
they lost Quintus Cephas, so another receiver went down. Amon-Ra steps into a role where he wasn't being played. He hasn't played in 2 wide receiver sets, so maybe we start seeing if he starts playing in 2 wide receiver sets, man, it's a wrap. Like he's going to be a PPR monster because he's already getting 6-7 catches, I believe, the last 2 weeks. So if he starts playing more because of injuries, I just think he gets peppered with targets because that's what he does. He's a possession guy, and I could see him getting anywhere from 7-8 catches again. If he's playing more, up to double-digit catches, like old Amendola style.
Oh, I was going to say old Amendola style, just reliable clockwork.
Catches 120 yards or something.
Got an ADOT of like five yards, but just does what you need. Yeah, I mean, keep your phone on loud, man, because the way the Lions are going, you might end up getting a call to go and play wide receiver for them.
Not with this hip.
Not with that hip. Oh shit! The Lions have got all the compression gear you need, there, man. They can patch you right up. Give you some.
I got a helmet there. I can put that on.
Yeah, just get that on. You'll be good to go. Next game, Browns Cardinals. This is going to be a fun game. I think my 3 fun games for the week that I'm really interested in seeing. Oh shit! It's probably okay. The 4 games I'm really interested in this week are the Ravens Chargers, the football team against the Chiefs, the Browns Cardinals, and the Titans Bills. I think those are like the 4 games that I'm most interested in. But this could be a real good one, and I'm firing up Rondell Moore this week. His talent is out of control. Max Williams has gone to IR.
You love Rondell.
Love Rondell Moore. What's not to like? He's so fun. Max Williams has gone to IR. He was actually getting quite a lot of usage, so we could see Kingsbury go to a bit more of a 4 wide receiver set. They don't really have anyone else at tight end to come in there, so you could see them really spreading it out to stretch this Browns secondary. The Browns' strength is their defensive line is obviously crazy as well. So you automatically put them in, give them some tough decisions. If you've got 4 wide receivers out there with Kyler Murray's mobility as well, this could be a really interesting game. But
I think it will be an interesting game. I think the Cardinals their offense leaves me a lot to be desired. The way it's currently run, they let Kyler just kind of like there doesn't seem like a plan. They're like, all right, Kyler, fix this problem for us, and he like runs around, completes a pass.
Yeah, it's because I don't think Kingsbury's like all that sharp as an offensive guy, right? He just doesn't seem to be that creative. We know he just lines DeAndre Hopkins up on one side of the field. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of creativity, and they're looking great because Kyler's playing at an MVP standard.
Right, and this is not the game. I feel like this is the game where you need to kind of have a plan. That D-line, if they get a hold of Kyler, like they could put some hurting on him. So
Myles Garrett could just pick up Kyler and just pull him apart like a piece of meat.
But I guess my takeaway here is that, Chubb and Hunt, I mean, those guys, you're starting them. I'm actually starting, like I mentioned, I think before, like I'm starting both of them in the league. So
yeah,
those guys have been absolutely amazing. The Cardinals' run defense is their weakness of their defense as per constructed. I mean, Cleveland offense is generated through those guys. So I fully expect them to keep pounding them, like Chubb 20 carries, Hunt probably 12 or 13, and 5 catches again, something like that. So we saw that even if they run the ball like that, they can still put up points. They put up 42 points last week using that same kind of game script. So yeah, I like those running backs this week.
Yeah, the talent they have at running back combined with their offensive line and the way Stefanski schemes up the run, they're an outlier in how good they are at running the football and how efficient they are. Their EPA per run play is just streets ahead of most of the other teams in the NFL. They do a great job. Now, that what I'm about to say here feels really, really gross, but it also feels kind of like Odell could actually have a game here. Like Baker and him have just not been on the same page. It's getting more and more publicized. I think they really work on their timing this week. And I think part of Baker's accuracy issues, we've seen him just missing Odell wide open as well. He's been dealing with this shoulder injury.
Right.
And I read a few injury doctors basically say that even though it's his non-throwing shoulder, it's still a problem because you just can't get that rotation and the whip, which you need to sort of use for your accuracy and to fire the ball into the spot where you want it. I think another week removed, another week of treatment, building the strength back up in that arm. Maybe Odell does something, and this is the kind of game where you're not scared of the secondary for the Cardinals in any really at all. And his opportunity has been there. Over the past 3 weeks, he's got 20 fantasy points below expectation. So the volume has been there. It's just, will it hit? And I go, well, maybe in a game like this, it needs to hit, and they make something happen, or they scheme some some stuff close to the line of scrimmage and get Odell going on some end arounds, some screen plays, things like that, and just go, okay, let's get you moving. Let's get some touches happening for you. So I can see that happening as well. Moving on to our New England Patriots, who crushed the Houston Texans just as expected.
Just like we drew it
Put
up.
them away. First team in Texas. Bring on the next one. New England runs Texas. Going to go up against Dallas Cowboys here. Loki, I think the Cowboys are just going to score a lot of points here. I'm concerned. The offense is fine. I know. You always go either they can work something out, but I don't know, man. I think this could get ugly because I just don't think the offense is going to be able to keep up. Assuming there's no bad weather and things like that and other factors to bring this down, I think Dallas's offense is looking electric. Dak's running for, in the running for MVP at the moment as well. But one play I do like this week, he's sort of grabbed the ball by the horns at the tight end position. And it looks like Hunter Henry could be emerging as the primary pass catcher. The Jonnu Smith contract looks worse and worse each week. I was really excited for that. We obviously knew it was an overpay, but he ran 6 routes last week. And it's really making me question some of the personnel decisions of the Patriots. Obviously, we're not a Patriots podcast. We don't want to get too deep into the weeds here. But at least Hunter Henry is starting to earn some of that bread. And the Dallas defense can be got at with tight ends. Their defense is looking better and better. But they're sort of, slightly below average to opposing tight ends. And Mac Jones seems to be getting a bit of rapport with Dallas. I think Dallas can score some points. And with Damian Harris banged up, and we talked about that at the start of the show, the offensive line in pieces, this could be a game where they just, quick plays to Hunter Henry and a short area passing game. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a rock fight. I think it's going to be similar to the Buccaneer game a little bit, where they try to muddy it up and change things up, confuse Dak. The issue is going to be if they can't stop the run. So I think this is a healthy Ezekiel Elliott game, and I don't hate playing Pollard here in a pinch. I think he's going to have a good game on the ground as well. I think I could see him rushing for 50 yards, maybe more, because I could think he could break off a couple big ones in this one. So that's my worry as far as like kind of the game script goes. But yeah, I think it'll be slightly interesting. This game is only a 4-point line at the moment, so that's how it's seen in the betting world.
It's interesting, right? Because I think obviously it's a 6-point swing if this was in Dallas with the 3 points given to home, and I think they always give Belichick like a field goal no matter what.
Right.
It just really shows you though how far apart these two rosters are. If it was like neutral field with just these two rosters, not the coaches, I think Dallas would be like, at least a 10-point favorite on neutral field, no coaches.
Oh, wow, that is just mean.
I mean, that's how much better their roster is. Like that's just how it is. But of course, there's a lot of factors that are going into this. But we've now got about 8 minutes to try and squeeze in 3 more games and our stream. So let's pick up the pace here. Broncos, Raiders. Cortland Sutton,
go.
Just play absolute murderer. Play him everywhere you can. He's got 649 air yards, which I believe is good for 3rd in the NFL. Lock him in your starting lineups along with Tim Patrick if you're in a pinch, assuming Jerry Jeudy's not back this week, which we don't think he will be.
All right, boom. Raiders. I have no idea what's going to happen with the Raiders with the new coach and how that all works out. But I think we're going to get a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs. He looked better last week.
Yeah, he did.
More spry. So I'm gonna play Josh Jacobs this week in this tough matchup against Denver defense.
Yeah, I like that. Steelers, Seahawks. This is going to be a great matchup here of 2 elite quarterbacks, Geno Smith, Big Ben Roethlisberger. But this is why I'm going to say let's lean on Chris Carson. He's expected to practice Thursday. It's just a management thing for his neck. Lean on Chris Carson. Get him there. Sorry, the Seahawks are going to lean on Chris Carson. You can lean on him in your roster too. I think he's going to get a lot of carries. It's not going to be pretty, but he's a hard runner. I think they can make something happen here. But more importantly, the Steelers defense is just the obvious play this week against Geno Smith. This could be pick city, sack city. Enjoy those points. What do you like here?
Yeah, I like Claypool and Deontay. This Seattle pass defense is absolutely atrocious. Even with Big Ben's paintball shooter arm. And it'll be interesting to see if James Washington finally shows up now. Or is going to be like Ray McLeod and a host of other guys that pop up now that Juju's on the shelf.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that one at the top of the show. Juju Smith-Schuster gone to IR. Looks like season ending and probably played his last game in Pittsburgh. But great news for Claypool and Deontay Johnson owners. Finally, Titans Bills. We talked about this. I'm playing AJ Brown. It's a tough matchup, but Tre'Davious White probably is not even going to shadow AJ Brown, especially if Julio Jones is back. And the Titans are going to have to throw to keep up in this game as well. I think the Bills are going to score a lot of points. Their offense is firing. Josh Allen looks great. Titans defense stinks. And I think in deeper leagues, Jeremy McNichols is a low-key flex play in the passing game because I know Derrick Henry's involvement in the pass game has gone up. But when the Titans are down and in third down situations, 2-minute drills, we do see Jeremy McNichols out there quite a lot. And he could go 5 receptions for 50 yards, maybe sneaks in with a score if you're lucky, but he could get you 10 points this week. And, in dire situations, 10 points is all you need.
That's very true. My takeaway from this game, obviously, it's not a great spot for the Bills as far as like team and matchup goes. Coming off a huge win, it's a little bit of a letdown spot. But this Tennessee defense has been horrendous all year. Start your Bills.
Oh, yeah. Start your Buffalo Bills. All right, those are the games. We got 5 minutes to fire through our streaming. Let's go with the quarterbacks. Somehow, and this is probably why my ire is so drawn to Matt Nagy, But you somehow fucking won the quarterback stream with Zach Wilson's performance of 8.94 points because Justin Fields against the Raiders incomprehensibly scored 8.84 points. Like, what?
It's ridiculous.
8.84 points? Are you kidding me? Anyway, things are getting better this week because I already talked about this game a lot. Taylor Heineke is my play for the week. He has 3 games above 20 points this year, and he goes against Kansas City, who's got given up an NFL worst 7.1 yards per play. Now, to put that in context, the greatest show on turf, the Rams offense back in the 2000s, averaged 6.9 yards per play on offense. One of the greatest offenses the NFL has ever seen. Kansas City defense makes everyone look good. Their offense absolutely stinks. It's Taylor Heineke week. He runs the football. He puts his body on the line. He loves diving for the pylon. He gets in here with a rushing score, maybe throws for a couple of touchdowns as well. It's Taylor Heineke week. I'm here for it. Let's go. Who have you got?
I don't have Taylor Heineke. I got Big Ben. We just talked about it versus the Seattle pass defense is 28th against in DVOA. Taking Big Ben and the Steelers offense in this one.
Yeah, I like that call as well. He was certainly on my list. For tight ends, yeah, it's ridiculous. I finally got my first win with Dalton Schultz last week, 13.9 points. CJ Uzoma only had 3.6. So finally, in week 5, I was able to get my first tight end stream with victory of the season. And I'm going back to this Washington football team well because Logan Thomas is on IR. Curtis Samuel is banged up. De'Ami Brown is banged up as well. Ricky Seals-Jones ran 60 routes last week, which is second most out of all tight ends. And Kansas City give up the sixth most in adjusted points against the tight end position. So I think there's a lot to like about him. He's a converted wide receiver. He's labeled as a tight end. He can make some big plays. I think he can have a nice day here and get me double-digit points against Kansas City.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I'm going to take Dan Arnold, who's been increasingly used in that Jags offense against this Miami defense has been bad. So I got Dan Arnold versus the Dolphins. I just think he's starting to see that James O'Shaughnessy target share there. Got tons of target last week. They traded for him, so
right. They made a point of getting him on the roster, right? Yeah. So,
they traded a decent asset for him, to be honest. So, playing Dan Arnold this week versus the Dolphins.
Yeah, he was the equivalent of the "Give me David Putney because I feel like it" in the trade. He was like, Give me Dan Arnold just because I feel like it.
That guy. Good money wallet. Give me. No, you can't have him.
Yeah. No, sorry, that's not going to work for us either. But Urban Meyer was probably like, "Oh, I need a running back. Christian McCaffrey. What's going on with him? I haven't seen him used the last couple of weeks." All right. That will do it. Once again, we're getting good at staying under an hour, Corey. We're getting really, really good at this. So quickly, you can find me on Twitter at @FF_Down Under. You can find Corey at CMoney52. Make sure you follow the Vault Studio at the Vault_Studio on Twitter. They're on Facebook as well. And if you want to support the studio for the cost of a cup of coffee on our Patreon, helps us bring you the shows, helps us keep the lights on. Patreon.com/the Vault Studio. Corey, anything else before we get on out of here?
No, good luck, and hopefully you guys can find some streamers for all of those injuries that you have on your roster.
That's it. We're going to get on out of here, but I wish you all the best luck and happy Josh Gordon week.